Hello everybody, Benjamin Johnston here. So, I've gone through the entire Uncharted trilogy for I don't know how many times I've played it, and now I'm on to Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. So this is going to be an interesting one here because Uncharted 4, A Thief's End I've never played before, so I'm going into this with a fresh experience here. And I've got to say, out of all the Uncharted games I've played, this might be my favorite one. So in Uncharted 4 Thief's End, Nathan Drake has now settled into a more quiet life with Elena Fisher. He's basically given up his treasure hunting days, and he's more mature now and less of a risk taker than he was before. Then his thought-to-be-dead brother Sam Drake comes back into his life, and he talks about this pirate treasure that they were looking for as kids, and now he has a lead on it, and he wants Nathan Drake to come back into his life to help him find the treasure in order to pay off a debt to his life. So now Nathan Drake is back in the treasure hunting game, both figuratively and literally. So Sam Drake is not too different in terms of characterization to Nathan Drake, but due to Nathan Drake's maturity, they play off each other very differently. Nathan and Sam have really good chemistry with each other, and their relationship is very genuine. Their banter reminds me a lot of Indiana Jones and his dad in Last Crusade as far as like how well they work off each other. Also, Elena and Sully are back for one last adventure with Nathan, and it was great having them around. Like, if they weren't in this game, it would have felt like something was missing, and I was glad that they were a major part of this game. Hands down, Uncharted 4 Thief's End is one of the best looking console games ever released, which is pretty impressive considering the previous games in the series were really good in terms of graphics. There's a great sense of detail in the environments, and it has an impressive scale to behold. It even got to a point in the game where I was just taking a few pictures using like that share button on like the PS4 controller, and because it was really that impressive, it made me want to take those pictures. As far as the game goes, it's pretty familiar with what you know from previous games, but they do a lot to shake up the formula here to make it feel fresh. The game still has a clearly defined path, but there's far more open levels for you to explore in. Like, you'll sometimes go off the beaten path, like into a cave. Like, there's a bit in Madagascar where you can just have a Jeep and you can drive around in, and you can like go off to different paths and you can find like hidden treasures, and there's this cool thing that they have where you can like look up some notes that pirates have left behind, giving more background into the treasure that you're trying to find. And it's really interesting stuff. Like, they put a lot of care into the background story that this game has. Combat wise, it's still just as satisfying as it was before, and with some great new additions to it. There's now a grappling hook in this game where you can use to traverse the environment in, and it can be used effectively in combat, and it's a really fun tool to use. There's now a fully fleshed out stealth system in this game, which the previous games didn't really have much of, but here it's far more developed than it was before. You can hide in the bushes, like mark enemies to see where they are, and you can go through entire sections without having to engage in combat, like just entirely sneaking, which is really great. But even if you are caught, it's still just as fun to engage in combat just as it is in stealth. One ability that was taken out of the game that was kind of a shame was the ability to throw back grenades like in Uncharted 3. That mechanic was kind of a cool way to turn the battle in your favor, but it's gone this time, which is kind of a shame. The action scenes are simply amazing to behold. It's pretty impressive how far we've come in terms of like how epic these scenes can get. The chase sequence in particular is very reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones is being dragged across the sand while holding on with the whip. The scene where the tower collapses and you're trying to escape from that tower is really impressive to look at on a big screen. The fact that you participate in these sequences just makes it even more fun to play. Ultimately, Uncharted 4 Thief's End is a great conclusion to what I think is a consistently well done series, and they wrapped up Nathan Drake's story so well that it feels definitive. It feels like this is the finale to this character's legacy, and they do it in such a great way. It's the most polished game in the series, and when all said and done, it solidifies the Uncharted series as a great example of video game escapism.